I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 10 to the Sky. Jumping back into some more All the Mods 10 to the Sky, and today things are going to get a little bit spooky. As we are nearing the Halloween time of year, I figured I would add a little bit of a space underneath my base and maybe dabble a little bit in the magical arts, you know, the occultic arts. And it's also required for the All the Mods star, which is another thing that I am definitely going towards. And I'm going to need quite a few of these empty soul gems, which are a way to capture mobs technically. Pretty interesting little thing right here. We also need a fragile soul gem apparently, which is another step that is going to be required. So we need a few circles in order to make this, but the mod has actually changed quite a lot, even since the last time I played it, which doesn't really seem like all that long ago. And I tell you what, they've really upped their texture game. Like all kinds of things have been changing with the Occultism mod. It's actually really nice. And I am glad to see this. One of the changes you may note is whenever you get started with the mod, you're going to be getting yourself some demon dream fruit. And this demon dream fruit has got a much different texture to it. It no longer looks like a Swedish fish. No, it actually looks like a piece of fruit. Now today I'm going to be dabbling quite deep into the Occultism mod, but I wanted to pose the question off to you. What is your favorite part of the Occultism mod? And don't you dare say the husbands and wives. Now some things that we need to do with this fruit is eat it. And we can just continue eating this fruit until we get the third eye effect. This effect right here. Ah, yes. Very nice. So now that we have this effect, we can use this to our advantage. We are going to need to get ourselves some very special saplings, but that also means we need to do some very special things and get some special fire up and running. Maybe some fire that utilizes this dream fruit. Now to get started, I'm going to use this as some decoration here, but I'm just going to toss down some dream fruit and then light it. And we get ourselves some spirit fire. And this is going to be very important to the progression of this mod. And so all of the fire is now set up. And I think this is a very nice aesthetic thing. Like it used to be purple, but I mean, I really like this like white fire. That's a really nice look. So perfect. We have this up and running. This is our major steps. Now, most of the stuff from this mod can be found inside of the Dictionary of Spirits. Now, the Dictionary of Spirits is also a utility item. We are going to need it for several different crafts, but it's also the entire guide for the mod. Pretty darn cool. If you take a look in here, whenever you first start, it even gives you the option to make all of the chapters readable instantly without needing to go through every individual step, which in my opinion is pretty nice, especially somebody who has already gone through all of this documentation to basically go through here and clear it all again. But yes, now back to actually using this demon dream fruit, right? And we ended up getting that weird third eye effect. Well, we are going to need that after we do some converting. So we can actually take oak saplings, throw these in, and we get Occultism's version of the oak sapling. We can also throw diorite inside of this fire, and we get other rock. And if we throw andesite in, we now get other stone. Very interesting. There's also several other transmutations that we're going to be doing by tossing items in, and you can see all of them listed here in the book, including diamonds, which we're going to need for attuned gems. We are also going to be throwing in some logs, but we got to get these very special logs first. So how do we actually get these special logs? Well, we need to plant and grow these saplings. So some bone meal will definitely do the trick. And I think we have plenty of room to be able to grow this, but I do want to go ahead and give myself this third eye effect. And once we place this sapling down, it now looks different. And when we grow it, this tree is very special. And we can only see this tree and these saplings while we are underneath this occultism effect. Just something to kind of point out here. This is very specific to us being underneath this right here. You can see here, if I try to grow this, it has just reverted to a regular oak sapling, and it is just a regular oak sapling. That's not exactly what we want. Now, the only way around not being underneath that third eye effect is to summon in a trader from the mod. And there is a trader that can trade you this specific sapling that requires you to not have the third eye effect. Now, there is something we can do to continue making more of these logs without needing to be under this effect. And that's because we have access to the bees. And to do this, if we just simply breed up a couple of very specific bees, one being the yellow carpenter bee and the green carpenter bee, we get a lumber bee. And yeah, we just need 5 lumber bees and we can really harvest infinitely any log we want. Oh, and by the way, just wanted to mention, this is where my bee program is really going to shine here, because up to this point, we've had only combs to handle. But this will now take all of the logs and it should just send them directly to the storage. For example, the drawer that we may have set up for different log types. So I now have my productivity omega upgrade in there. We throw in some of our bees and then just simply put the log that we want to duplicate in here. And yeah, this should rip and start producing those logs. And I've already set it up inside of this drawer. And now we're producing as many as we want. Beautiful. So now for the fun part, we get to play around with the spirit fire. So we can take our new logs, turn them into otherworldly ashes, but we do need to smelt these other materials to change their form, and which we're going to need for future recipes. So let's go ahead and clear all of this out, and we are going to create a spell that allows us to smelt with ours. This is a really, really powerful spell, and I just want to kind of show this off. So projectile, sensitive to target items, and then we are going to do smelt. Now I'm pretty sure I think we have to do smelt and then sensitive to augment the smelt, and then we'll just do a little AoE until we have like a stack worth that can be smelted. So if I toss this down, I should now be able to smelt that up, and it looks like more AoE. Keep going, more AoE until we do almost an entire stack. Okay, so you can see it changed over to polished, and so we hit it again until we get this stuff right here. Burnt other stone. This is the stuff that we are going to need to be able to make chalks. And having this little pocket smelter is so nice. So we can now make the chalk. So impure chalk, I'm going to make a few of them for right now, but I think we're going to be changing these down the road, right? Yes, they're used to make all of the other chalks, so I'll just store them for now. The regular impure chalk, though, I believe it also gets smelted. I could be wrong. Yeah, no, it gets dropped in spirit fire, doesn't it? Yes, so now we have white chalk allowing us to get started with our first ritual, which is going to be Ritual TM. I don't think that's actually what this is, right? That's not the exact name. There we go. Avira's Circle. This is going to be the first one we're going to be getting started with. So we can hit this little button here and then just right click to place it down. And I just need to follow the chalk outlines for this. And then these are regular candles we can use, just regular candles from our bees. And then in the middle is going to be our bowl. And I'm actually going to break the dirt and replace it with this, just to kind of keep everything nice looking, because I'm trying to also keep this decorative. But there we go. That's almost there. And then some candles. And I don't think it matters if they're lit or not, but just having some candles in the corners. And then we have the bowls. Now, this bowl is just one of the bowls, but we are going to need the major bowl in the middle and then these bowls that are going to go on the outside. And I really like that they changed the look of the bowls, but I do see there are different tiered bowls now. And I don't remember these being that way before. So yes, regular sacrificial bowls are the ones we're going to need for this one. At least according to the book. And then the one that goes in the middle is going to be more of the andesite. If I remember correctly, yes. Andesite, be able to get the other stone. And it's just another bowl like this. I don't know when we have to worry about the tiers, because that's kind of new to me. This one shows like gold banding on it. So maybe we do need the golden. Yes, the golden version. That's at least what this shows in the outline. So there we go. Perfect. Now, we still need to place down the sacrificial bowls, which are these right here, and you can place them within the actual structure. And this is where we're going to start our first little ritual here. And this should summon a little demon for us, a little foliate. Now, this is an interesting change. This used to be ores, like the raw versions of the ores, but now it's just the ingots, which I kind of like. Because there's been certain times where you're like, man, I don't have the raw, and you got to go through hoops to be able to get to it. But there we go. We're almost done, but this is where we actually need to put like a soul or a spirit from the spirit dictionary into a book. and then we need to bind it. To do this, we are going to need some ink, so some black dye that's thrown in the spirit fire, and some feathers that are also thrown in the spirit fire, and that's to be able to make this book. And we can make a bunch of these books, by the way, by making a taboo book and just tossing that in the spirit fire. I'm going to do all of that. I think this will just make it a whole lot easier if we just combine all of these things together now, and we'll have access to these books. And now that I have the Book of the Foliate, I think I'm saying that correctly, we combine this with the Book of Spirits, and that's the last thing we need. And then we can just click that on here, and this is going to summon our beautiful little crusher. And thankfully we have a time accelerator. This actually takes a little bit of time, but you can accelerate the main block if you do have a time wand. Otherwise you have to sit here and just casually watch it and wait. But this is what we really want. Yes. If we shift right click him, he does have an inventory slot. And some of the first things we need to get done is going to be crushing up Instone. And so we want this guy to crush up Instone because this is actually what gets us into the next tier of chalk, which is going to get us closer and closer to our ultimate goal. This guy's got a little ear piercing as well. Look at that. I swear these textures keep changing over and over again. Like this one looks even different than the last one I seen. Like the models and all of this stuff just keep getting better every update. But here we go. This little guy is going to be spitting out all of this crushed Instone. And like I said, this is what we need in order to move into the next one. Now, we also need obsidian dust, but we can get obsidian dust via mechanism, so we don't actually have to worry about waiting for this guy. It's just the Instone that we really, really need for this. And here we go again. We now can make impure purple chalk. Toss that into the spirit fire, and we are ready to go with the purple version. So this unlocks even more of the rituals that we can do, and it talks about all of the different chalks that we're going to need. Now, moving down into the pinnacles, which are all of the individual rituals that we're going to end up making, you can kind of see them lined out here. So all the way up through here, you're going to need purple chalk. You're going to need the yellow chalk for this line down through here. And up to this point, moving forward, you're going to need these different chalks. So you see the orange, the red, for example, all the way up to the blue to be able to get these ones. Thankfully, the Sojourner's Higher Binding, I believe, is the highest we need to go in order to produce that container. And this just needs a lime chalk, I believe. Yeah, so from the looks of it, we are going to need white, gray, and lime and our purple chalk we just got. But keep in mind for this item, that's not the only one we're going to need. No, we need the Envious Spectral Compulsion to be able to make our first fragile gem, which apparently breaks after one use. So this is going to require an egg, iron, and we're also going to need some glass here. So we need to figure out this particular one, and this is like a base ritual, basically almost on the same tier of what we're working on right now. So where is this? It's just the one prior. Okay, so we can take a look here, and I mean, this is mostly the stuff that we already have that exists here. By the way, we can pick this guy up and we can store him inside of other mob containers. If we want, we can punch him around, can cause some damage. This guy is going to be perfectly fine though. He's probably used to it, to be fair. Now, what I really want to see is, can we put these together? Like, can we add these, these rituals together on top of each other? I really want this to be a thing, but I don't think it is. Yeah, you can see this one right here is already blocking this one. They may be able to stack per tier. So if you see right here, these will stack up. These will stack up as you progress through the higher tiers, and then this would stack up. So you really kind of need like 3 platforms to be able to technically get the most out of all of these. So you know what I'm going to end up doing? I'm going to use the chalk brush, because otherwise it takes a little bit of time to break these. I'm going to remove all of these for now, these pre-existing ones. And I think I'm just going to go with one at a time as needed. By the way, while I am working on this and actually getting this one put together, some things that we can start crushing outside of this, we are going to need calcite. So having it crush up some calcite so we can get the gray chalk. We only need like 1 piece of this for right now. And then after that, we need it to crush up some emeralds, because actually we don't even really need it to crush emeralds. It looks like emeralds we can get just from mechanisms, so that's fine. So yes, just getting it to crush up some calcite is going to be the way to go. And perfect. That gives us exactly what we need here. And then we can crush up some silver very, very easily. and combine that together, and that's at least our gray chalk out of the way, which we're gonna need. So perfect, the ritual's set up, and this is the ritual that we actually need to be able to make the fragile, but it's also the ritual we need to be able to make the lime dye, which is what's going to allow us to get the research fragment dust to move on to the higher tier in the first place. So we do need bottles of enchanting, and there's a couple of ways in this pack we can get it. Ender.io is a really easy way. I also think that we can take advantage here of our setup that is down here. Let's see. Yes, we do have XP inside of the printer. Is this going to fill bottles? I think it requires the very specific create experience to do that. Or maybe not. I'm a complete derp, and this one is the printer. I don't need the printer. I need the spout. Ya goob. And I should be able to route that there. And let's see. This, it should work. No, it still requires create experience. And so basic Ender.io tank for the win. Yes, I believe we can place this right here and grab some bottles and just toss that in, and that should make bottles of experience for us. No, okay, no. Right click. No, still not a thing. That's right. That's because it requires XP juice. Yes, every mod has its own XP type. I mean, there is this summon possessed witch, which does drop them apparently, but honestly, a villager can just trade them. Or we could just craft them in a dissolution chamber. Wait a minute, we can just craft them in our pre-existing dissolution chamber. Wow. So yes, back to the tech hall we go. And if I just make a recipe that looks like this, that can go right into this pattern field here. And now I can just request as many as needed, and it just makes them. That's so nice. You know what, after that, I think I need a coffee break. But back to this again, more and more crafting here. So we'll drop in our bottles and our emerald dust, throw in our foliate, and now this one should just summon an item. Yes. I do like that there are some animations now that like kind of flow around the actual item before they're consumed. Look at that. Beautiful. We can now take this and craft the next chalk. Yes, we're making even more and more chalk. Eventually our whole inventory is going to be filled with chalk, and I'm not going to know what to do with it all. But lime chalk, and we're ready to upgrade this circle. And now it's time for me to put on my big boy pants and, well, place this one down. This is a much larger ritual here, and I don't know if these are overlapping. It looks like these are wrong, so we are going to have to remove these. So where I said it upgrades, I mean, it kind of upgrades. I don't know, though, if we can do these lower spells in this higher tier version. I would assume we can, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But yes, these we all have to remove. Just like this, and that is going to require that light gray chalk. Just like so. Everything else is kind of already in place. These are in place. The original ones we had here are in place. We do need skeleton skulls, and then there's a lot of lime that is going to need to be placed in. And more purple. Now it looks like to get the skulls, I am going to need to make skeleton essence. Yep, that's going to be one of the best ways I think to get it as of right now. And thus, a skeleton seed was born. Yeah. So I should be able to request all 8 of these now. Look at that. And 8 skulls we now have. Just going to place them in the orientation facing the inside of the circle. And that should be just about it. I think the order really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't have to be turned any specific way. And let's see. Are we missing anything else? Don't think so. It says we are missing 1 chalk. Nope. We're just missing the sacrificial bowl. There we go. And so now I know I just upgraded this, but this is actually a good time for me to test. Can I perform that lower tier ritual in the higher tier setup? And this is going to be the perfect time to test this. So back into our dictionary here. This is the one that we actually need in order to produce the soul right here, which, I mean, this isn't really us diving too deep into this mod at all. And so let's go ahead and highlight this one. We need iron, an egg, and any glass, and then the regular foliate book. So iron and then glass, like so. And then we also needed an egg. So just a regular egg. We might have to make a chicken seed to be able to make more eggs quickly. But We drop that in there, the egg, and then the bound book. And does it work? It looks like it does. Okay, so the lower tier does work in the higher tier ritual. That's exactly what we want to see. And we can speed this up. And yeah, we're definitely going to need to figure out a way to perform this ritual quickly. Because remember, we need 18 of these to be able to automate the star, essentially. 18 of these. So now I want to try this out. So if I use some hoppers and throw these ingredients in here, all we have to do now is just make the basic foliate book, right? I think that's all we have to do. So let's take this, and we're going to need like 16 of these. No, we need 18 of these, right? I'm not even going to count the first one that I did. So 17, 18, there's all the books. Now, whenever we combine it here, it does turn them into their own special items. So I'm going to like throw them out for now into the ground, because I'm going to stand here. I'm going to accelerate this, place the book in, and do them one at a time, just like that. That is pretty interesting. Yep, and definitely works. And that right there is all of them done. All of the basic ones done, because now we still have to make the higher tier version. And the next one's going to require 8 of these individual sacrificial bowls. So I'm just going to place them in like so, just showing you that they can be within the actual ritual itself. And yeah, we'll just throw some hoppers on all of these, just like we did the other one. So with all of these in place for the next tier, I mean, the only thing that was required were these fragile soul gems, which I just have a chest up there since they're all individual items. I mean, we just combine these yet again, and we unlock all of our books, just like so. And I'll just toss it out, and we'll continue going. Now, this does say starting craft requires a soul gem. Missing soul. Oh, that's right. One of these requires diamonds. I almost forgot about that. Yep, I accidentally put several stacks in here. So I put 4 stacks of soul sand instead of 3. But there we go. So now we throw that in. It's ready to go. And for this, I am going to turn the magnet off, stand back, and just simply toss all of these items in one by one. My goodness. It's very quick. I mean, it's almost as soon as I throw the item in, it's done. That's beautiful. And I think that right there is every single one of them that we need. All of these empty soul gems. Perfect. All 18 of them ready to go. So if we go to Occultism, 17, I'm missing one. One of them went somewhere. Oh, there it goes. 18. So now we got everything done that we needed to, I believe, for the star, but there's still some things that I think would be really helpful to get from Occultism. And honestly, this has to be one of the most powerful parts of Occultism at this point. And that is Occultism's possessed mobs. Now, the possessed mobs are kind of wild, and their drop pools are even wilder. And we do have the ability to technically farm these guys, and we could use some special means to do so. Now, I believe that mob swabbing them is disabled, but we will try to do that. However, I do want to farm them in a very specific way. We'll get to that in a minute. First thing we got to do, however, is get this circle set up, because this is an entirely different ritual center, essentially. And so we will find that in the middle section. So the middle section is actually the summoning circles. And we have all of these different types of summoning circles, and each type of these mobs, depending on which ones we want, require a different type of circle. For example, the Guardian one here requires Oda's open convocation. And if we take a look at that, we got to figure out which one. Otis open convocation. So this is going to require gray chalk. It's also going to require yellow chalk and all the prerequisite chalks and orange chalk. So there are some different things that we're going to have to make. And specifically, orange chalk requires cursed honey, which means we need to spawn in a possessed bee. Yes, and we need to take it out to get cursed honey. And this is going to require one of the prerequisites, just like our other pinnacle area required. Pinnacles, I really don't know what we're calling these at this point. I guess I should be calling them rituals. It does say it right here. Thankfully, with this ritual, we can just skip directly into the second tier of this one. At least I believe so. Placing this down, we just need yellow, lime green, and it looks like some gray. I think this is, yeah, this is definitely the light gray, and then there's the white. Now, yellow chalk, that's one that we actually get directly from getting gold and glowstone. Like that is just another one that would typically come from this guy, but we have the ability to crush gold elsewhere. And with this, we are almost ready to summon in a possessed bee. Now, just like all of our other rituals, we put this together. We just want to check here if there's anything that needs to be sacrificed. Doesn't look like it. It looks like it literally just generates the bee. Oh, no, it does say it requires a chicken sacrifice. Of course it does. Thankfully, in this pack, we can quite literally just spawn in a bee with a spawn, or spawn in a chicken with a spawn egg. And that actually started up the ritual. So we'll get this going. All right, and then the bee spawned. Now, it's probably mad, right? No, it's good. Now, I notice, yes, we cannot swab the possessed mobs. So that is one farming method gone, but I'm almost positive we can pick them up in drygmy jars. Now, I do need to turn on my magnet since this thing is flying off, and I'm just going to use my bow. There we go. And this has a mega looting on it. So 15 cursed honeys. I think that's more than we'll ever need. And like I said, this gets used to make impure orange chalk. And now we've made orange chalk ready to go. And let's go ahead and upgrade this to the next tier circle. And this is where we actually get access to the possessed mobs. Oh yeah, but before we can make the next tier, we are going to need to move to gray chalk. Now, this is impure white chalk combined with gray paste. And gray paste comes from the Sojourner's Higher Binding. Another one of them. That is, I believe, on this list. Wow, it's literally the one we just wiped earlier. Oh, after building it back up again, gray paste time. We just accelerate this yet again. I just hate waiting. I don't know about you guys, but man, the waiting mechanic, it really feels like it should be faster. But all we really have to do now is combine the impure white with the gray paste, and we get an impure gray. Throw that into there. And now we can move on to the next tier, I think. Just gotta go through here and wipe this one again. Yep. This is why sometimes it's best to have all three areas set up, like for all three of the major circles. But yeah, I think this go around, I really wanted to test my patience. Now, this one does require spirit attuned crystals, and those are just some really nice decorations here that you get from tossing diamonds into this. And then you combine them up like so, and you get these nice little decorative crystals that you can lay around. And so there we go. This entire thing is ready to go to be able to summon some possessed mobs. Now, after realizing I am going to need multiple of these, I've decided I'm not going to constantly keep breaking and replacing these. I'm just going to make copies of this and continue it down. So yes, after that, I went through the hassle of making all of the 3 different rituals that we are going to need. And of course, we can expand from here. The reason I need to do this is because technically to get the red chalk, which is going to allow me to make like one of the highest tier possessed mobs, which is actually the one I really want, I've actually got to go all the way up to this level, which does require red chalk. So we are going to have to take on the Ifrit. And to do that, we need the open conjure here. Kendar's open conjure specifically. And so now you may be wondering, well, Chosen, how do you get Isnium if we don't have netherrack? Well, yeah, if we don't have a proper nether to get it from. Well, thankfully, we can just simply use an atomic reconstructor with some ancient debris and get the ore. That makes it so much easier. Because believe me, the search for this stuff in the nether is quite a pain, in my opinion. But we don't have to do that, so that's good. Let's go ahead and pop up here real quick. And let's teleport through this glass. I should make like crystallis glass or something like that to go here. But yes, let's take all of our ancient debris and we're just going to throw it right here. It should go right into the AE system. Or at least I assume. We got 5 of them. 10 of them. Oh, it must take a bit of power. That's right. Yes, it does take a bit of power. Well, look at that. We have the ore. We place the ore down, and I believe breaking it like that gives us, man, a really pretty textured raw Isnium here. Now, you know what? I want to take these pickaxes out for just a second because breaking this stuff, I kind of want to break it with our highest efficiency we have. Beautiful. Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. And then we just need to throw it in to be smelted. That happens so fast. So now for summoning the Ifrit, and we are going to have to sacrifice a cow yet again. Another thing that we could just use we can use a spawn egg for. And so cow goes in, goodbye cow, as we take out the cow. And let's see, everything is started up. And let's spawn this boss. Yep, that's the boss right there. But it's literally one shot. It's a one-shot boss. And did we get its drop? Is the question. Yes, 7 of them actually. So now with this, we need to make the Ifrit turn into the red chalk. We do need a torch flower for this. And unfortunately, like, torch flower seeds are the only way we're going to get this. Getting a sniffer is going to be quite complicated. But yeah, we can just sieve dirt. Thankfully, I already have torch flower seeds. And that is just something that we can simply plant on a regular crop. And I believe I can just throw this down here to be auto harvested. Right? Well, at least I have to harvest it. But there we go. That's all we need is the torch flower to be able to make the red and pure chalk. But honestly, now that we have this, we should be able to craft up the highest tier possessed mobs. And now to level this up, I think it's just literally adding in these red corners. And that's basically it. It's got to be it. Yeah, that's literally it. Now with that ritual up, we are going to need to take some pigs out. Now, I don't normally kill pigs in the game because I just think they're so darn cute. And so I'm also not going to do it here. Instead, I'm going to let a clicker do it. And if I set this to hold and I have it set to hold for 1 tick and just target air, we should be able to put a mob right here just by spawning them and letting the clicker do it, aka dire. Right? Yeah, maybe I need to target up. Oh boy, target north. There we go. That should work. Perfect. And I'm actually not the one doing the killing. Look at that. Don't get me wrong, this feels just as bad. And if I double click, oh boy, that's even worse. Oh no, dude. If I click on it, it spawns the, I gotta look away. So now, perfect. Let's go ahead and start working on this. Now, this is the one that I want. This is gonna give me a possessed hoglin, the first one. And you can see it drops smithing templates, meaning we don't have to automate smithing templates really outside of getting them from here, which is gonna be really nice. I won't have to really worry about that process. And you can see this is just the small items required. And that's why I needed that pork, because 3 of them are going to be required here. I may have gotten carried away. I don't think we're going to need more than just 1 of these possessed mobs summoned in. Now, without further ado, we should be able to summon this. Now, we are going to have to sacrifice 1 mob, and that is a pig. And this one, I will sacrifice to get the ritual going. All right, so if anything, I have murdered 1 pig on the server. I'm just going to leave it there. All right, so summon this in. Shouldn't take too long at all. And I want to try using the soul thing to capture it. So that's it. We now have ourselves a possessed hoglin. I'm going to put this in my bag for safekeeping because I do want to collect all of these possessed mobs. And I actually want to try and capture them with a drygmy. Well, not with a drygmy, but for a drygmy. Now, while I work on making these other possessed mobs, what we could do is also buy a turtle egg. And yeah, we can just simply buy turtle eggs. I love that we can buy these. And what I need to do to get a scoot is I can spawn in a turtle and then I can just right click this a few times and that should put baby turtles inside of here. Or at least it should. Yes, there's all those baby turtles. When the baby turtles grow up, they will drop scoots and we just simply need a scoot. And I'm not really worried if they die. That's why the hopper's there. Just going to collect the scoots. You know, that's just part of it. Yeah, we just got to do this. All right, now I'm making the possessed blaze. It's going to require a fireworks star. Just a dye and gunpowder is all we should need for this. Oh, and also by killing a turtle, you do get some seagrass, which is actually one of the things required here. Now this one requires a chicken sacrifice. Honestly, pretty straightforward. So this is going to be the blaze. So I'm definitely going to capture that blaze. And man, is the blaze nice. Look at all the things it can drop from the nether. Just things we just don't passively have access to. Now for the mobs like the guardian, right, it says it requires any fish, and there is 1 fish that we have been able to easily get, and that is from the wandering traders, and that's a puffer fish. So I do have puffer fish in a bucket, and it's very, very easy to get your hands on this, and just go ahead and collect it into one of these soul gems, and we can spawn it in and take it out as a sacrifice later on. And for this one, which is a possessed phantom, we just need to spawn a bee and take it out. Now, next, I'm going to be doing the Elder Guardian. This is going to be kind of wild, honestly. So the Elder Guardian does require these higher tier books. So we'll get that spawned in. There we go. Combine that up with our Dictionary of Spirits. And then this is where we are going to need to sacrifice that fish. So we throw that and it says sacrifice any fish. Just don't want to place the water bucket here. And then that should take care of business. Yes, it did. Beautiful. And there it is. There's the big boy himself. All right, we'll capture that and save it for later. Now I needed a tropical fish, so I went ahead and I may have duped even more of these guys with a mob swab. Just so I can actually make fish essence. So there we go. We got ourselves some fish seeds. Man, we are really making some seeds today. Now that I have those seeds though, and I have my turtle scoots, I can make the last possessed mob that I really want to make. And that is going to be the regular possessed guardian. That's just going to give us all the coral related goods. And just like the other ones, this one requires a fish. And so another puffer fish down, and we can go ahead and get this bad boy spawned in. Yep. Perfect. And now time for the fun part. So we place down our ritual near some source jars, and we are going to use these containment jars to fill these mobs with. And we use a tablet of containment, and we slap that inside of there. We can go ahead and place our jars nearby, for example, just right here. When we activate this, we do get one free, but the ones after that are going to cost a little bit of source. So we put this in here. Will it contain? Yes, it will. And the rest of them are going to cost a little bit to be put into these jars. And so let's just continue on. There's that one, and that one got put in a jar as well. And then we have the hoglin. Perfect. That one's now in a jar. And then the final jar is going to be the big boy boss, this thing. And we want to make sure we get it over here in time. Come on. And there we go. All of them are now inside the drygmy jars. Now, speaking of drygmies, we can actually use the polymorph wand and having it locked into target mode to target a drygmy. This seems kind of wild, but it does actually work. And we can do something like chickens, and we can just convert a few chickens into more drygmies. Yeah, it's pretty nice. And then we just want to throw down some horns so that way they pick up the horns. And they should convert into their drygmy charm counterpart. Now, though, I do have to convert all of these into their drygmy counterparts. So now the real fun begins. We need to take this mossy cobblestone, and I typically like to kind of entrap these guys all inside of a single block space. So we can use something like glass to really encase these guys, or you can use some trapdoors. Trapdoors also work really well. And so something like this, I just have it enclosed with some copper trapdoors. And we right click this with our first drygmy, and this is going to form the drygmy hinge. It takes a moment, but there's the drygmy. And once we have the one in, we can actually spawn in a bunch of them. So we just click them on the actual hinge, and I'm going to put all 16 of them on the hinge just like that. Then all we have to do is connect some sort of inventory to the bottom of the hinge. So let's do a upgraded barrel. So we can do like a netherite barrel. I think that is more than fine. And let's see, can I fit this in? Perfect. And I can still access it, and we're going to hook this to our applied energistic system. So now all we've got to do is actually put the jars in of the mobs themselves, and the drygmies should start to kind of go crazy. And they're going to start getting really happy that they see these, and they should farm them. And they should also pull source from this jar right here. Now it takes a moment, but they will start farming these guys, and it's just going to be a passive generation of all of the items. You can see, there we go. It starts to pull it in, do its thing, and look at that. We're already gaining drops. Now, if you didn't know this, some more things to note. The more things you have in jars near it as well, the faster it's going to be overall. Just something else to keep in mind. Oh, and looky there, already 2 smithing templates, and that took like no time at all, just passively generating those things. But now this is far from all of the cool things that occultism has to offer. Of course, it has all kinds of other unique things that you can spawn in. There are some crushers that can go up to 6 times ore processing, which is very, very powerful, by the way. You also have like pets, and there's also like other demons and stuff you can summon in that have different perks. And there's a husband and wife too that you can also spawn in, even though those are pretty darn cursed. But you know what? As far as I'm concerned, we have completed our challenge. The main thing we needed to get was that soul gem. And I also kind of wanted to dabble in some of the possessed mobs because I think those are some of the nicest features of this, well, this mod. And so if you did enjoy today's episode, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and well, give this video a huge thumbs up. And guys, it's now time for me to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Bison. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and just supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. Guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and you know how it goes. As always, thanks for watching.